Charlotte was identified at 8 months with a profound hearing loss. She was a full-term baby, and initially we thought everything was fine, but at the time of her birth, infant screening wasn't being done in the hospital that she was born at. Infant hearing screening is so important because it will identify initially, right there and then, if a child has any form of a hearing loss. If you look at hearing, it's one of those challenges that a child may have that won't be identified by sight. With a child with a hearing loss, they have to be assessed. And if a parent has that choice, they need to follow through with it. Because at that point, that child's identified. And you're not waiting 8 months, you're not waiting 12 months, you're not waiting until a child is supposed to be speaking. You're knowing right there and then.
Hearing loss we used to pick up at the age of 1 to 2 years of age when a child was not talking. And then we would check the hearing and see if it was normal. Now what we're able to do is that in the first few days of life, we're able to check a child's hearing and make sure that it's normal. If it's not normal, we're able to assist them in order that they can get normal language development, or as near normal language development as possible. It's important that we check your child's hearing as early as possible. There's really nothing to lose, there's everything to gain, and we're not doing this for our benefit, we're doing it for your child's benefit.
The Ontario Infant Hearing Program is a program funded by the Government of Ontario with a goal to identify babies who are born hard of hearing or deaf as early as possible. The program has 3 components. The first component is universal newborn hearing screening. The second is audiology services. And the third is follow-up supports and communication development services. Universal newborn hearing screening is being carried out throughout the world, and the intent of that process is to identify babies who need to have follow-up audiology assessment. In Ontario, newborn hearing screening is typically carried out in the hospital. The procedure is quick and painless for the baby. We often prefer the baby to be sleeping for the procedure, and they go right through it. If the baby is not screened in the hospital before they go home for any reason, there are screening clinics available in the community to make sure that every baby in Ontario gets screened.
We have really good methods now for testing the hearing of infants, and the screening methods we use are no exception. For most babies, what we use is a process called distortion product otoacoustic emissions, and that testing is done by an individual who's specially trained to use that equipment, as well as who has expertise in using the equipment on new babies or infants. So distortion product otoacoustic emissions is also known as DPOAE, and that's the way we screen most infants. What happens is we put a little probe or a plug into their ear when they're sleeping or laying quietly, and soft sounds are played into the ear. Now, someone discovered that when you put sounds into the ear, if the cochlea is working normally, that's the organ of hearing, then a soft echo comes back out, and they call that the cochlear echo. So we're putting sounds in through the plug and very soft sounds, measuring to see if those soft sounds are coming out. If the soft sounds come out, that result is given automatically by the machine, and the whole test only takes a few minutes. Immediately after you do the screener will share the results with you as the parents, and that's a good thing. We don't have to wait around to try to get those results. There's 3 results that you can actually get based on this screen. First type of result is a pass, and that means that no more testing is required. But what I think is really important for parents to remember is that even though the baby passed this screen at birth, that childhood hearing loss can develop. And so it's really important to watch your child for signs of hearing loss throughout infancy and early childhood. The other type of result you can get is a refer result. And what that means is that further testing is required. Doesn't necessarily mean that the child has a hearing loss. Most of the children will in fact have normal hearing. The reason for the refer result simply because there was perhaps fluid or debris left in the ear canal from the birth process that will resolve on its own. The last result is actually a no result, and that means that the environmental conditions, either the room or the baby itself, were noisy such that we couldn't get either a pass or a refer result. And so in that case, the mom needs to bring the baby to a community screening clinic in order to repeat the testing again. If your baby gets a refer result, it's very, very important that you take them for further testing, because even though the chances are small that the baby has a permanent hearing loss, they still are higher than if they didn't have the initial refer result.